Charlemagne, known as Charles the Great, was a towering figure in the early Middle Ages, a monarch whose influence profoundly shaped the course of European history. Born around 742, he was the son of Pepin the Short, the first king of the Carolingian dynasty. Upon Pepin's death in 768, the Frankish kingdom was divided between Charlemagne and his brother Carloman. The relationship between the two brothers was fraught with tension, threatening the unity of the realm. Carloman's sudden death in 771, however, left Charlemagne as the sole ruler of the Franks. This pivotal moment allowed him to consolidate power and embark on an ambitious path of expansion. Charlemagne's reign was characterized by near-constant warfare, as he sought to expand his kingdom and spread Christianity. One of his most significant campaigns was against the Lombards in Italy. He answered the Pope's call for help, decisively defeating the Lombard king and annexing his territory. This victory made Charlemagne the protector of the papacy, a role that would define his reign. He also waged a long and brutal war against the Saxons, a pagan Germanic tribe. The Saxon Wars lasted for over 30 years, marked by fierce resistance and ruthless suppression. Charlemagne was determined to convert the Saxons to Christianity, often by force. The infamous massacre of Verdun saw the execution of thousands of Saxon prisoners. His campaigns also extended into Spain, where he fought against the Moors. The legendary Song of Roland is based on a battle from this campaign. Through these conquests, Charlemagne created a vast empire that stretched across much of Western Europe. It was the largest European empire since the fall of Rome. On Christmas Day, in the year 800, a momentous event took place in Rome. Pope Leo III crowned Charlemagne as Emperor of the Romans. This act revived the idea of a Western Roman Empire and created what would later be known as the Holy Roman Empire. The coronation was a surprise to Charlemagne, or so the story goes. Regardless, it solidified his status as the most powerful ruler in Europe. His new title, however, was not recognized by the Byzantine Empire in the East. This led to diplomatic tensions and even military conflicts. Charlemagne was more than just a warrior king. He was also a great administrator and reformer. He standardized laws, currency, and weights and measures throughout his empire. He appointed officials called missi dominici to travel the empire and ensure his decrees were followed. This system helped to create a more centralized and efficient government. Charlemagne also championed a cultural and intellectual revival known as the Carolingian Renaissance. He gathered scholars and artists from all over Europe to his court at Aachen. The most famous of these was Alcuin of York, an English scholar. Under Charlemagne's patronage, education and literacy were promoted. A new, clearer script called Carolingian minuscule was developed, making texts easier to read. This script is the ancestor of our modern lowercase letters. Monasteries became centers of learning, preserving classical knowledge for future generations. Charlemagne himself was a lifelong learner, though he never fully mastered writing. He spoke several languages and had a keen interest in astronomy. His palace at Aachen was a marvel of Carolingian architecture. The Palatine Chapel, with its stunning mosaics, still stands today. Charlemagne was a devout Christian, and his faith was central to his identity as a ruler. He saw himself as a new king, David, ruling over a chosen people. He took a great interest in church reform, seeking to standardize liturgy and clerical education. His personal life was complex, with multiple wives and concubines. He was a devoted father, but his succession plans would prove problematic. In 813, he crowned his only surviving son, Louis the Pious, as co-emperor. Charlemagne died in 814 after a reign of over 45 years. He was buried in his beloved chapel at Aachen. His empire, however, did not long survive him. It was divided among his grandsons, leading to centuries of conflict. Yet, Charlemagne's legacy is immense. He is often called the Pater Europae, the father of Europe. He created a sense of shared identity and culture in Western Europe. His revival of learning laid the groundwork for the intellectual achievements of the High Middle Ages. The idea of a unified Christian empire would inspire rulers for 1,000 years. Charlemagne remains a symbol of power, vision, and the enduring quest for a united Europe. His efforts to Christianize Europe were not without bloodshed and coercion. The Saxon Wars, in particular, were a brutal chapter in his reign. He was a man of his time, and his methods were often harsh. But his impact on the development of European civilization is undeniable. He was a complex and contradictory figure, a warrior and a scholar, a saint and a sinner. His court was a melting pot of cultures, with scholars from Ireland, Italy, and Spain. He had a great respect for the traditions of the peoples he conquered. He ordered the compilation of the old Germanic epic poems. Sadly, these collections were later lost. Charlemagne's physical appearance was said to be impressive. He was tall for his time, with a round head and large, expressive eyes. He enjoyed hunting, riding, and swimming. He was a man of great energy and vitality, even in his later years. His personal seal bore the inscription Renovatio Romanae Imperia, renewal of the Roman Empire. This phrase encapsulated his grand ambition. He sought to create a new Christian Rome in the heart of Europe. His legacy is still visible in the political and cultural landscape of modern Europe. Many of the borders of modern European nations can be traced back to the divisions of his empire. The city of Aachen continues to award the Charlemagne Prize to those who promote European unity. Charlemagne's story is a testament to the power of a single individual to shape the destiny of a continent. He was a visionary leader who dreamed of a unified, peaceful, and Christian Europe. Though his empire was short-lived, his dream has echoed through the centuries. The legend of Charlemagne grew over time, making him a mythical figure in European folklore. He became the model of a perfect Christian king, a warrior for the faith. The tales of his paladins, like Roland and Oliver, became staples of medieval literature. In some tellings, he is said to be sleeping in a mountain, waiting to return in Europe's hour of need. This legend reflects the deep and enduring impact he had on the European imagination. The Holy Roman Empire, which he founded, would last for over 1,000 years. Though it was often a fragmented and weak entity, it carried the legacy of Charlemagne's imperial ideal. His name, Charles the Great, is a fitting tribute to his monumental achievements. He was a bridge between the ancient world and the Middle Ages, a catalyst for change. His reign marked the beginning of a new chapter in the history of Western civilization. The economic reforms under Charlemagne helped to revive trade and commerce. He established a new silver currency, the denier, which became the standard for centuries. This monetary stability fostered economic growth and prosperity. He also promoted agricultural innovations, such as the three-field system. These improvements led to increased food production and population growth. Charlemagne's support for the church was not purely spiritual, it was also a political strategy. By aligning himself with the papacy, he gained legitimacy and a powerful ally. He also used the church's administrative structure to help govern his vast empire. Bishops and abbots often served as royal officials, wielding both spiritual and temporal power. This close relationship between church and state would be a defining feature of the Middle Ages. Charlemagne's legacy can be seen in the very languages of Europe. His promotion of Latin helped to preserve it as the language of scholarship and the church. At the same time, the seeds of the modern French and German languages were being sown in his empire. The Strasbourg Oaths, a military pact between his grandsons, is the earliest known text in both languages. This linguistic diversity is another aspect of his complex legacy. In his personal life, Charlemagne was known for his simple and moderate habits. He disliked excessive drinking and extravagant clothing. He preferred the practical dress of the Frankish people. This unpretentious lifestyle made him an accessible and popular ruler. Despite his power, he never lost touch with his Frankish roots. His reign was a synthesis of Roman, Christian, and Germanic traditions. This fusion created a new civilization that was uniquely European. Charlemagne's influence extended even to the Vikings. His strong coastal defenses and powerful navy deterred their raids for a time. After his death, however, the Viking threat would return with a vengeance. The fragmentation of his empire left Europe vulnerable to new waves of invasion. This period of chaos and instability is a stark contrast to the order and unity of Charlemagne's reign. It highlights the magnitude of his achievement in holding such a vast and diverse empire together. Charlemagne was a man of immense ambition, driven by a powerful sense of destiny. He believed he was an instrument of God's will, chosen to forge a Christian empire on earth. This conviction gave him the strength and determination to overcome incredible challenges. His story is a powerful reminder of how faith and ambition can change the world. Whether seen as a saint or a tyrant, a unifier or a conqueror, Charlemagne's place in history is secure. He was, without a doubt, one of the most important and influential figures of the medieval world. His coronation in Rome was a symbolic act that resonated for centuries. It represented the formal alliance of Frankish power and papal authority. This alliance would shape the political landscape of Europe for generations. Charlemagne's empire was a beacon of light in what is often called the Dark Ages. He fostered a sense of hope and optimism in a time of uncertainty. His court was a center of innovation, not just in art and literature, but also in technology. New building techniques were developed, allowing for the construction of impressive churches and palaces. Charlemagne's reign was a period of progress and renewal. His influence can be seen in the very concept of chivalry. The ideal of the Christian knight, brave and devout, owes much to the legend of Charlemagne and his paladins. He was a ruler who understood the importance of both military might and cultural soft power. His empire was built on conquest, but it was sustained by a shared culture and a common faith. Charlemagne's story is a timeless epic of war and peace, faith and power, and the forging of a new world. His legacy is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, a single individual can bring about a new dawn. The Carolingian Renaissance was a brief but brilliant flowering of culture. It preserved the heritage of the classical world and transmitted it to the future. Without Charlemagne, much of that knowledge might have been lost forever. He was a true patron of the arts, with a genuine love for learning. His influence is a testament to the idea that a ruler's greatest legacy is not in buildings or conquests, but in the minds of their people. Charlemagne's Holy Empire was an audacious dream, an attempt to recreate the unity of Rome under the banner of the cross. And for a brief, shining moment in history, he made that dream a reality.